Things. I'll hit record. Bring the presentation back up. And we are live. We are going to talk about tonight how you can get massive sales when you've got the right and absolutely awesome authority content and you know how to put that out. And obviously one of the great formats for you to put that out is through your blog. Now let's push into the content. For those of you who don't know me, first of all, welcome. Drop a comment into the comments box, say hi, and let me know if there's anything in particular you want me to cover. A little bit about me and my background. So my name is Mark, and I am the Managing Director of the Public Speaking Skills Academy that has two major arms about it. Firstly, all about helping people and business leaders, entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants about improve their communication skills. Then the second arm, which is where we're focusing our attention tonight, is all around helping salespeople and particularly the small business owner develop their authority content so that when they are pitching and presenting their services, when they're sitting in front of a client, they are basically already perceived as the trusted authority. They have the expertise, they have the credibility factor about them to say, yep, this person, whether it's Roger, whether it's Bradley, whether it's Mark, whether it's whoever, knows their stuff. Now, my background is I've got a strong background in IT, 20 years technology and insurance experience. Over the course of that time, I've spent a lot of time in my career selling very complex, very expensive solutions to senior management who have non-technical backgrounds. They don't have a technical bone in their body, and so I've needed to be able to translate and communicate information in a way, in a persuasive way, to get them to buy into a solution and to buy into something they may not fully understand, but they had to trust me it was the right solution for them at that right particular time. So I've done that through a variety of means and mechanisms, mostly through being and positioning myself as an authority in the industries that I've worked in, getting that credibility, getting that expertise. So speaking at conferences and making sure that I am talking to and communicating with the correct people in the marketplace, the correct people in the organizations to ensure that I maximize my ability to influence. Part of that as well comes into, particularly nowadays, if you look at what the opportunities are available and look at how I've been able to grow the Public Speaking Skills Academy, is through content marketing. And that's obviously where we're going to position and spend a lot of time tonight. But before we dive into the content, just want to make this statement up front so that you are all clear that we are here to provide information that's going to make a difference to you today. There's no skimming over things. If there's something you want to know, you ask the question, I will answer it for you. I'm teaching you proven techniques. In other words, these are the techniques that I do on a daily/weekly basis. There's nothing going to be held back tonight. There's nothing that's going to be said, well, you can only get that if you buy in and invest in my products and services. And ultimately, I'm here for you beyond this session this evening. So whatever questions you have, ask them tonight. However, if you don't think the question doesn't come to mind, but you're ruminating on it tomorrow, then feel free to email me, call me, and we can get your questions answered. First up, though, I want you to type into the chat box. Let me know whether it's harder for you to get your ideal clients today. Is it when you're sitting in front of them, is it harder for you to convince them to buy into your products and services? Just drop that into the chat box. Just a simple yes or no answer. While that comes through, I'll just check to see if we're broadcasting live on Facebook. Or do we have a quiet room this evening? Hey, we got something. So Bradley, it's harder for you to get your ideal clients. Love to know, Bradley, what kinds of marketing activities have you done up to now? Have you done any content-based marketing? Not yet? Good. Okay, well, hopefully out of tonight, Brad, what you will get is the seeds of inspiration at the very least to start doing content marketing, because you'll see how valuable and how useful it can be for you. Let's push in to the content. First up, just to position this and set this up right, I want you to understand why it is so important for you to be seen as an expert in your field today. Firstly, the marketplace is super crowded. No matter what industry you're in, what niche you're in, you have competitors at a high level. For you to stand out and be recognized and have clients recognize you importantly, and let's make that even more importantly, your ideal clients to recognize you, you've got to stand out. If you're not an expert, you're not going to stand out. You will be in amongst the pack. Experts are the ones that are put up on the pedestals in the marketplace. They're the ones that stand out. They're the ones that clients, your ideal clients, will be thinking of when they are looking to buy your products, your services, whatever it is you are offering. If you don't have that expert status, someone else is going to be the one standing out, claiming the client's brain space. Experts also get the media attention. The media is going to be inherently lazy. They are not going to spend time researching and finding out who to talk about or who to talk to get quotes, to get articles, to do feature pieces on. They are just going to head to whoever is the quote-unquote leader in the field. Now, this is then a self-perpetuating cycle because the leader in the field then gets to maintain and hog all the media attention, which then gives them additional PR and advertising capabilities. This is why it's so important to be seen as the expert and to claim that number one spot. And being the number one, you get to claim the prize. Now, or not claim the prize, so you become the prize. This is all about saying that your clients will now chase you. You won't have to be the one out there hunting clients, chasing them down, ringing them up, being the dare I say, quote unquote, sleazy salesperson. Instead, you will be the prize. Your clients will come to you. All of a sudden, the phone will start to ring because people want you. They recognize that you're the expert. They want you to work on their projects. They want your products, your services. It changes the dynamic massively. Think about it from your perspective in terms of selling today. How much easier would it be for you to sell your products and services when you have clients come to you? They want and they're prepared to pay for your products and services, which leads in nicely to this. Because you are the leader of the field, you get to set the fees. If you are number 2 in the marketplace or number 3, you cannot charge higher than the leader in the pack. That's just pure economics. The leader of the perceived leader of the field, the authority in the industry, will be the one that can set their fees. Everyone else will then have to use that as the benchmark. So if you want to set high fees, if you want to have your ability to charge under your control and not set by someone else, you need to be seen and be recognized as the expert in the marketplace. And you also get the better joint ventures, because ultimately people want to work with the best because it reflects well on their brand. So as the authority, as the leader in the marketplace, you get to pick and choose the joint ventures that you work with, which means that you can work with the best joint venture partners, which means your business grows quicker and grows better and accesses the highest quality clients easier than you have done before. So recognize that it is better for you to be the authority in the marketplace because of this. So now let's talk about it. One of the ways that you can become and be seen as the authority in the marketplace is to produce high quality content. Now, let's talk a couple of reasons why you need to be producing quality content that's going to get you sales. Firstly, it boosts the brand awareness. When you are out there putting content out on a regular basis, it's getting seen. It gets your brand and your reputation out there, gets your name recognized in the marketplace. And this is the first fundamental piece. You need to be getting your name out there so that when your ideal clients are in a position where they're ready to buy, because I'm going to break this to you harshly. Your clients aren't necessarily ready to buy from you today. They might not need your product, service you're offering right now, here, right now. But when they do, you want them thinking of you. This content that you produce is there, and it's there in perpetuity. It enables you to get your content out there and boosts your brand. Because this content is out there, and when you do it regularly, you create a library of work that enables clients to read your thinking. They get to see your expertise and they start to trust in you. In other words, they start to like you. Remember what we hear at networking events every single time we go there? People do business with they like, know, and trust. Becoming the trusted expert through content is super powerful because they've read your work. They like your opinions. They like the way that you work. They like the way you do things. So they then trust in you. You might never have met them. And the chances are you will never have met them up until the point you actually engage with them. As in terms of a phone call or having a one-on-one meeting. You become the trusted expert because they have read your content. They have seen your thinking, they like it, and they then gravitate towards you. So our new participants, welcome aboard. Again, just drop a comment into the box, say hi, and if you have any particular questions over the course of the webinar, feel free to drop them in there and we will answer them. Your content is also powerful because it enables you to encourage your customers to take action. This is crucial. So it's a great marketing piece where you get to demonstrate your expertise, you show your credibility, you show how much that you know and that you understand, you show your clients that you're talking to their particular problems, and at the end of that, you can have that call to action to say to them, if you want to solve this pain point, if you want to solve this issue here and now, call me and I can help you with product X, service Y, whatever it is that you offer. You've got that little gentle encouragement. It's a soft sales approach, but it works and it's so effective. And ultimately, shareable content brings new clients to your front door. And it does this on a consistent basis. That content that you put out 6 months ago can be read and someone can read it, like it, and then they turn up on your front doorstep offering to buy and invest into your products, your services. New people that you otherwise would not have reached. They might be outside of your physical marketplace. There is a multitude of ways that they find this content, and because it's there, it's working for you 24/7. It's content that then just brings people to your website, brings people to your inbox, brings them to a place where they can get a hold of your contact details and reach you. And then when they're calling you, it goes back to what I was saying earlier, that sales dynamic changes because they're already sold on you, and it's just a case of showing them how they can work with you, and they will happily pay the money. And finally, a nice little one here certainly from a small business perspective. One of the challenges small business owners struggle with is to keep their website content fresh, updated. When you produce content on a regular basis, and we can talk about what regularity means later on, but when you create it on a consistent basis, it's new, fresh content. Now that's good for the search engines, and it stops the weeds growing in around your website because it gives people something new to look at on a regular basis, which is super, super important. So let's have a quick look now at some of the ways that small businesses get their authority content wrong. Firstly, authority content needs to solve a problem. If you want to have good, not good, let's say great content, great authority content, it needs to solve a particular challenge that the reader, the viewer, whatever format you use, and we'll talk again a little bit about formats a bit later on. There's a variety of formats, whatever format it is, it needs to solve a reader's problem. It needs to touch a nerve, something that's relevant to them. So you need to make sure that your content is solving their problems. I'm sure that there are lots of things that you can say about your product, your services, that are all fascinating to you, but they're not interesting to your readers. What your content consumers want, what your ideal clients want, is content which is going to help them solve a particular problem. Make sure you don't leave them in a haze or leave them in a foggy world. You've got to help provide clarity and solve their problems. You've got to provide depth to your content. And this is one of the ways that, again, you can really easily differentiate yourself, because a lot of small business owners, a lot of content producers are providing and producing superficial content. It's that light piece. It's just, it only scratches the surface of a particular issue, of a particular pain point. Now, if everyone else is doing just superficial content, if you provide really solid, in-depth content about a particular pain point, what do you think is going to happen? Your content's going to be read. I mean, I'd love to know, what's your thoughts when you're reading content and it doesn't solve a particular issue, or it only just touches on a challenge very briefly? It doesn't really help you. How does that leave you feeling? Yet when you find a piece of content which is valuable, which is basically becomes a bit of a reference piece for you, you bookmark it so you can come back to it later on. Is that content that's valuable for you? And how does your perception of that website or that person, that brand, then get reflected on it? So think about that and challenge yourself to say, when you're producing content, are you producing content which actually has some real depth and real meat to it? Something that the reader and consumer of that content is going to find valuable, practical, and useful. Robotic. Do not be robotic in your content. Don't be afraid to put in some personality in there. Ultimately, what's going to attract people to you, to your brand, is your personality. As a small business owners, we are our brands, whether we like it or not. So a lot of our marketing is focused in around us. So when we're producing content, our content needs to have personality to it. So it needs to be reflective of who we are and who you are as an individual. Also, make sure it includes your opinion. Don't be afraid to share an opinion in your content. Now, a lot of people get nervous around this piece, around this aspect in particular, but it's really vital because it's your opinion, your angle, your perspective, which will make it memorable. It comes back to, again, if you're just doing a superficial puff piece, it's not going to be memorable. It's not going to be the one that gets bookmarked. It's not going to be the one that's considered valuable. Whereas when you are presenting and sharing a piece of content which has real meat to it, has your opinion, and if other industry influencers are calling out things and you disagree with them, state it. State that you disagree, because that's the things that will get you noticed and get you mentioned, get you shared. And we'll talk about that. Comes down to then how you promote and get your content exposed to more eyeballs. But ultimately, your content needs to have your personality, your opinion running through it. Don't be shy. It's what will make it memorable and make it actionable. The alternate angle to providing the puff piece is the piece of content which is nothing more than a glorified infomercial. It's so transparently salesy that it is actually going to be counterproductive. It's going to damage your credibility. It's going to damage you and your brand, because it is obviously there just as a hawking piece. It's there just to make a sale and do nothing else. It's not providing value. It's not providing trust. And ultimately, it won't make the sale. It won't have any value to it, because it is not going to provide that bit of useful content that someone's going to gravitate to get the trust factor. So avoid the temptation. Resist it with every urge, every fiber in your body, to resist that temptation to hawk your product. Yes, you can have a little paragraph at the end that references your products or service, how you can help people. That's fine. But if you're producing a whole 300, 600, 1,000-word article that's really just a glorified web page promoting your products, you're going to lose credibility. So make sure that you don't fall into the trap of hawking your products and services throughout the entire article. Inconsistent production and posting. When you start on the content journey, you want to commit to a schedule. You want to be producing this content on a consistent basis, because your tribe, which is what you're going to be building through your content, those people who followers who look to your advice, look to your following, want to get to know you, they're looking to you to produce your content on a regular basis. If you produce it on an irregular basis, they will get frustrated. So make sure that you're sharing your content on a consistent basis so that people get into the pattern. It's also good for you, because when it's an inconsistent pattern, it's easy for you to drop out of the routine of saying, oh, well, I'll do that article next week. I'll do it the week after. And before you know it, a month, 2 months has gone and you've not posted an article. Get yourself into a consistent pattern, because that's what will help you get better, produce higher quality content, and build you a bigger audience. Inconsistency is not going to help you. And then there's the final mistake that's made, is believing that Content authority marketing and authority positioning is really just about writing a great article. It's not. It's about writing a great article and promoting it and pushing it out there so that it gets eyeballs on there. Just relying on organic search engines to find your article, to find your content, is a recipe for frustration and a recipe for no sales. You have to write not only a great article, you then have to become a great promoter of that article, push it out on a regular basis so that it gets exposure. It gets the light shone on it so that your audiences, your clients can see it. They get the opportunity to consume your content. Don't let it just sit there on your blog waiting for the world to come to your article. You're going to get frustrated. Instead, you've got to take your blog, take your content to the world and say, here it is, come and have a look. So what makes great content? What is it you need to have in there? What are the ingredients that is going to come together for you to produce that really great authority content article? That piece of content which when a client reads it, they're going to look at it and know that you know your stuff. Firstly, it's got to be original. It's got to be your piece. That doesn't mean to say that your topic needs to be entirely original. You can find topics in a whole range of areas. One of the ways is to go and have a look at other people's blogs, see what content they're producing, and you can produce the same, but you produce it with your slant, your opinion, your creativity on it. Ultimately, your content has to be original to you, and it's got to have your opinion on it. It's got to have your personality coming through, shining through. It cannot be like anybody else's, and it certainly shouldn't be a copy of anybody else's. Be unique, be yourself. Draw inspiration from the world, but be yourself in the process. Great content is going to solve a problem. So this means you've got to know what your clients' problems and challenges are. The better you know their problems, the better you know their challenges, the things that they're facing, you can start to write really good, valuable, useful content that will help them solve a particular problem. The beauty of this, and where most people start to get nervous, is that they think, well, if I write a great article that solves a client's problems, they're not ever going to engage me. The reality is they are going to engage you. It comes down to one of the principles of the psychology of persuasion in terms of reciprocity. When the minute you give, people will give back to you. Now, they're going to look at this content that you put out there that solves their problem, that helps them, but they're going to very quickly realize that, yes, they could potentially follow the steps in your article, they could follow what it is you're describing, but ultimately, they're going to want to come back to you to solve the problem because you can do it better, faster, more efficiently than what they ever could. That's the value you bring. Great content is going to position you ahead of your competitors. In other words, you're producing content of depth, producing content with great opinions in there that is going to help you stand out from your competitors. Because your competitors are producing puff pieces, you're producing in-depth, valuable articles that are useful. That's what great content is. And you can sell a solution at the end. Your solutions, your products, your services, whatever it is you offer, and I'd love for you to drop it in. Let me know what products and services you're offering so we can start to talk about potentially what content that you could produce that will help you then sell a solution at the end. So you can talk about the challenges your clients face and how they can solve those, and then you can offer up your course, your widget, your offering, whatever it is at the end as a way to say, yes, you can do it yourself, but you know what? I can do it better, quicker, faster for you and get a greater result. That's how the value of content comes into play. So I spoke earlier and we talked earlier about producing that content, and the requirement is to produce it consistently. The question is, how can you produce that great content on a consistent basis? Because I won't lie, it can be and is time consuming to a degree, but it gets quicker and it gets easier over time. The first article is always the hardest, and then from there, it gets easier and easier and easier. You know, we have Roger, you're online as one of my existing clients. Have you found it easier? I know that you are producing content on a more regular basis these days. How is it getting easier for you? If you could just drop a comment in, that would be appreciated. First step to producing great content on a regular basis is to create a content library. Produce a library of article headlines. You don't have to write each article, but it's about producing that library of headlines so that if every week or every fortnight, whatever pattern you decide to commit to, you find yourself stuck for an idea of what you're going to write for your authority content, you can pull out a headline from that library and write the article that goes with that headline. That creates a really simple thing. So all it takes is for you to sit down and in the space of an hour or 2 hours, you can create headlines that will give you enough articles to last 6 months to a year. If I said to you in two hours time, you could have a headline written that will cover you for every week for the next 12 months, would you do it? I'm guessing you would do it because it makes life so much easier for you. So first step for you is to create a content library of ideas of things that you're going to want to talk about over the next 6 to 12 months. This then plays in, you can line these up with your broader marketing calendar so that you can be producing content that lines up with any particular promotions or anything that you want to target for different points in the year. You then need to find a medium. Now, when I talk about medium, this is the different varieties of content you can put out. So you've got video, you've got articles, you've got LinkedIn articles. So there's a difference there between your blog article and a LinkedIn content. You have podcasts. You name it, there are ways that you can create content. If you're into the Snapchat and Instagram, you can create stories and content through those mediums as well. Now, the ultimate aim is you pick a medium, and this is where it becomes a balancing act, because you have to pick a medium that you like and enjoy doing, but also suits your target, your ideal clients. It's no good you doing pieces on Snapchat if your ideal clients are on LinkedIn. So find where they are and find a mechanism to make it work for you. For me, for example, I do a combination of video and text. So what I do is I record a video each week, and I get that transcribed so that both I get the video benefits, so that goes onto YouTube. I then put the text and embed the video on my blog so that people can consume the content how they want. And I just then promote those articles. But ultimately, every week I'm producing a video and getting that transcribed, editing that transcription and putting that on the blog with the video itself. Makes it so much simpler for me. It's a mechanism that I enjoy. I find that easier than writing. I'd be curious for you all to drop in there just what mediums do you think would work for you? Is it writing articles? Is it looking at using video or podcasts? What do you think your preferred medium would be? Drop it in there based upon your style, just as a curiosity, just to see what the different flavors are. Oop, going backwards, wrong way. While those come through, we'll talk now about committing to a schedule. As I mentioned earlier, this is the crucial mental aspect of producing awesome authority content. You have to commit to a schedule for producing your articles, your videos, whatever formats you want. Now, your schedule can be weekly, it can be fortnightly, it can be monthly. Starting out, I'd encourage you to go for a fortnightly schedule. If you can go weekly, but only in exceptional circumstances would I say that monthly is sufficient. The reality is you want to be producing content on a fortnightly basis as a minimum to keep your website fresh, to give you new content, new mechanisms to promote that authority to your audience. Now, as you do this, you're going to think, oh, well, I'm going to run out of ideas. And we've already talked about the content library, but what you can do over time as well is you start to combine old ideas. Old articles that you might have produced, or old content you produced, can be revisited over time. You can look at other people's content, put your own angles, find ways that you don't have to be completely creative. You can reuse and remix different articles, different perspectives, and bring them together for fresh content. It is all valid. Every article does not have to be 100% unique. You can put in different spins, different angles, reuse existing content to help relieve some of the pressure and load that can come with trying to produce your content on a regular basis. And then you've got to promote it. You have got to get your content and shout it out to the world. Don't wait for the world to come to you. You've got to promote it. And the importance of promoting it is in that second word there, measure. You've got to promote and measure. This gives you the essential feedback mechanisms. It will tell you what's working. So in other words, which content gets the most clicks, which content gets the most shares on social media. And then that gives you the clues of what other content you can be producing to, again, help increase your exposure. So use that feedback loop, that feedback mechanism to know what content to be producing over time. And when you start out, you're not going to have that luxury, I'm sorry, but that comes with, again, producing content. It's one of the reasons why, again, I say, let's do it on a fortnightly basis, because then that gives you sufficient volume of content and a sufficient library that you can start to see the trends happening. If you're only producing one article a month or one piece of content a month, after a year, you've only got 12 pieces of content to compare against. Whereas fortnightly, you've got 26. You can see it already exponentially. You've got a bigger range of articles that you can have a look at. So don't be afraid to produce content on a regular basis. Promote it hard, but more importantly, measure the success of your articles. You can test a variety of things. Some of those things are in this section here, optimizing your content. This is why you need to optimize it. You've got to find those headlines which are going to get the attention, because, again, it's no point writing a great in-depth article, then putting a crappy headline on it, which isn't going to get anybody's attention. Your headline is actually the most fundamental, crucial part of your content, because, like I said, if you produce great content but no one reads it, it's wasted effort. You need to get the eyeballs and attention, because people are busy. They're bombarded with messages, a million, trillion, hundreds of billions of messages every single day. You've got to cut through that noise and get your piece of content and in their attention span. If your first step to doing that is to have a great headline. So again, through that test and measure, see what headlines work best for you. Your content has got to be scannable, because just because you've taken the time to write 1,000, 1,500 word, 2,000 word article, it doesn't mean that every word is going to be read. Your content's got to be scannable such that people can go and scan up and down the article and get the gist of it. They'll get the ideas. They will then share it. If you force your readers to read all 1,500 words to get the essence of your article, get the essence of your thoughts and your content, they're not going to pass it on. So the easier it is to read, the more they can just scan up and down and get the concept, get the ideas. That's going to be more beneficial for you, because they will consume more of your content, and they will then forward it on and share it with their audience. So again, it's got to be easier to read and consume. That picture there of a mother holding a baby trying to do work is not unique. All of our clients are busy. They might not be holding babies, but they are juggling multiple items. They're trying to keep multiple things in the air. Be conscious of that and make your content conversational. Make it easy to read. Make it pleasant. Don't make it overly formal. Keep it in a relaxed tone, and your audience will thank you for it by actually consuming your content, making it more likely that, again, it will be shared and promoted. So keep it easy. To incorporate that, you can look at leveraging videos, images, infographics. Make your content, dare I say, colorful. It's engaging. It's far more easy for people to share images and videos than it is for them to pass on an entire 1,000-word article expecting one of their friends to read it. Infographics, if you create a great article and summarize it with an infographic that people can download and share, that's where you start to get into that super powerful aspect. Videos are exactly the same. You create a short video that talks about your content, provides a link to it, bang. People will share short videos. So be conscious of these things and think, okay, how can you make your content as consumable and accessible as possible? So now let's talk about exploiting your content with social media. This is where we get into putting the rocket fuel into your content, getting it out there and getting it seen. Just remember, your website is the heart of your online world. So we've got the social media there, we've got the blogging, your articles. You can see that they are all pointing back to the website. All comes together through the SEO, your paid advertising, all of it comes together to point back to your website. Your blog is a crucial and fundamental part of your website. Now, if you're writing and publishing articles on LinkedIn, you still want to have references back to your website so that people know where to reach you. Don't keep them on the LinkedIn platform. Move them back across to your website and capture their name and email address so that you can keep in contact with them. Now, you want to be promoting your content on social media. You've got to pick the platform. This comes back to, again, picking the platform that's going to be right for you and for your audience. If your audience is on Instagram, it's no point you promoting your content on LinkedIn, and vice versa. So you've got to pick a platform that you can go to regularly that will reach your clients, and one, importantly, that you would enjoy. So for most of us, that's going to be Facebook, that's going to be LinkedIn. They are the two big behemoth social media platforms. You want to be exposing your content on those platforms. You can look at the others if they're relevant to your marketplace, but just pick one, no more than two platforms where you are pushing and promoting your content. You've got to post often on social media. This is where, again, this is where you can start to utilize your content, and it's one of the reasons to be producing content on a regular basis as possible. Again, I'd say a minimum of fortnightly, because it gives you content you can share on social media. It's not the only content you want to share, but it's valuable content. So let's go through. There's three different types of content you want to be promoting on social media. First up is that fun and interesting post. This is just a quirky thoughts, quirky ideas, something interesting, something a bit fun for your audience to have a look at. You then supplement that with your content. So we're going to look at basically a three-pronged attack here. So you've got your fun stuff, your expert content, so that as people engage with your fun stuff, the way, for example, Facebook works is it says they're interested in you and what you have to say and offer. So when you then produce your expert content and post that on there, that comes up early in their feed, so they're going to see it and more likely to go and click on it and go off and actually read your content. So this is why we have a three-pronged attack. So you go post your fun stuff, you post your expert content, so post a link back to your blog, direct it back there, and promote your content frequently. And then you can post promotional pieces back to your paid products and services. So that's how we do it in a three-pronged attack. And this is on a daily basis you're doing this. So one fun, one expert content, one promotional is the minimum of what you want to be trying to do on a daily basis. All of this is with the aim to build an audience. And with social media, you want to be leveraging the retargeting pixels so that you can, as we start to then move into the promotional aspects, you've given the social media platforms a really good idea of who your audience is, who's engaging with your content, so that they can then, when you promote it out, you are maximizing your advertising dollar. And ultimately, you don't want to build, you want to build an audience on your social media platforms, your Facebook and LinkedIn. But like I say, your essence, and going back to that first slide in this section, is your website. You've got to redirect them back to your website so that you can get a hold of their name and email address. If Facebook or LinkedIn was shut down tomorrow and you didn't have anybody's name and email address, you've lost your entire audience. But if you've got a hold of their contact details, you can still promote to them even without Facebook and LinkedIn. And now let's move this into the paid advertising realms and how you can start to utilize paid ads to build this up. So that's what I was touching on before. You promote fun and interesting articles to new audiences. So people that haven't engaged with your page, your Facebook page, or your content previously, this is where you promote the fun stuff. So they start to get a bit of a flavor. You promote your expert content to both new audiences and to people that have engaged with you previously, so that they're seeing your content constantly coming up in their feed. And then you promote your paid services only to existing clients or existing audiences, sorry, because they have built up that trust factor. If they've engaged with your content, they've obviously seen your work, they've got a feel for it, they're more likely to then invest in your paid products and services, which means You want to be focusing your advertising dollars for promotional or paid services to those people. There's very little value in promoting your paid services to new people that have never seen or heard or had any form of involvement with you and your business. So think about this from, again, that like, know, and trust factor. It's about building up that like, know, and trust, so that as people get to the close to that trust factor, that's when you promote the paid services. When they don't know you and don't like you, at that point, you want to build up the trust factor. So until you've built the trust, you hold back advertising paid services to them. So as we come towards the end of this content, is when you're seen as the expert, what happens? You and your business is going to own the spotlight. That's crucial. That means you get to be the masters of the domain. You get to control and have clients come to you. As a result, you get to work with the clients that you choose. You get to select who you want to work with when you work with them. It changes the dynamic massively. You're no longer scratching around for those B, those C, those D grade clients. You're working with your A grade clients day in, day out. As a result, you have to work less. And this is twofold. It feels like you're working less because you're enjoying working with those A grade clients, but also you're having to invest less time, less money, less effort on promoting yourself, because you're already seen as the leader in the marketplace. You've got the media opportunities. It all comes together, and you get to charge those premium fees. Your income is no longer determined by someone else in the market. It's set by you and what you want to charge. So if you want help with all of this, I've got a couple of options that are there available to you. For those that have not had one previously, I conduct an authority and influence audit where we will go through and have a look at a range of factors. We'll have a look at your elevator pitch and your sales pitch generally. We'll look at what content generation activities you're doing and how well you're doing them and regularly you're doing them. We'll look at networking. Now that's networking online and offline. We can take a look at your LinkedIn profile, for example, and say, is that actually reflective of you and the value that you provide? We'll look at what events, your paid and promotional event strategies, what's happening with those. And we'll finish up with a chat around how well you're selling from the stage and where there are opportunities for you to strengthen it. If you want to get and book in an authority audit, go to the Academy.com/audit. For those that know they want help right here, right now, you can go to my Sales and Authority Breakthrough Program. This is an online mentoring program which is self-taught. So you get access to a library of courses. Some of those are shown there. So we've got the Essential Public Speaking course. So get your public speaking up to scratch. How to conduct your webinars. Get profitable sales webinars up and running. Got the elevator pitch. There is a recording of a full one-day Perfect Your Sales Pitch workshop. You get to see you get access to all the materials, plus see the clients that attended that course get coached, so you can see how their development, what feedback they've got and how it helped them develop and strengthen their pitch. We've also got sales meeting strategies, how to manage business networking effectively. All of those questions there, you can get your questions answered with the online mentoring Facebook group. So you get access to that group as well. If you want more information about that, go check out the Public Speaking Skills Academy.com. You'll see it's there on the homepage. You can actually try out the Perfect Your Elevator Pitch course for free when you go through the homepage. Then this is the powerful one. This is my authority mastermind, my inner circle. You get to come in and sit down with myself and a select group of clients where we get together every month online and we look at a range of authority activities, from sales meetings to the sales pitch through to networking, content generation. We go into much more depth than what we've been able to tonight. We sit there and we evaluate what's worked for clients over the past month. We look at setting goals for the next 4 weeks, and we talk about, and someone gets the opportunity to get their sales pitch and get their presentation skills really put under the microscope, so that when they are up in front of clients, they get the value and they get the results they're after, because they have been put through and been tested and make sure that the pitch that they've got is right for the audience they're talking to. That there is just $197 a month. Again, you can get access to that off the Public Speaking Skills Academy.com/mastermind. If you want to get a part of that, either drop a comment to me or go link in off the website and we'll get you signed up. Our next meeting is a fortnight from today. So we meet online for about 90 minutes to 2 hours to go through and get your authority and sales skills polished. If you want one-on-one mentoring, whether it's through public speaking, sales skills, the authority positioning, webinars, I have one-on-one mentoring programs and packages available. So we can get that sales pitch polished up. We can get your content on the fast track. If you want help with that, then go check out the mentoring on Public Speaking Skills Academy.com. You'll see the mentoring tab there. Otherwise, again, just drop a comment in and we can have a chat after the webinar is finished. So if you have any questions, feel free to fire them away now and we will get your questions answered. If there are no questions, we will wrap up the webinar, and there are my contact details.